Thank you so much for being here. And let me just say that Galaxy is predicting a 60% chance that the Clarity Bill passes before the August recess. That's lower than a previous estimate. But you heard what Jamie Dimon said to me. He's not happy with the Clarity Act. He doesn't like the fact that the crypto companies will be able to pay rewards. He's going to fight it and continue fighting it. He doesn't believe Brian Armstrong at Coinbase is representing the industry. What is your take from Ripple's standpoint?
Well, first, I think you have to recognize that Jamie Dimon has been dismissing this industry for a decade. He's called it a Ponzi scheme. He's called Bitcoin a pet rock. And if you look at J.P. Morgan, they generate $20 billion of revenue from their payments business and over $5 billion of profit. So I think Jamie Dimon also should be clear that, he is trying to protect and dig a deeper moat for a business that's extremely profitable for them, and they want to kind of maintain the status quo. So I think, as much as we could talk about whether or not Brian Armstrong is representing the industry, he's not. He's representing Coinbase, and in certain ways, he's going to look out for Coinbase's best interest. But at the end of the day, I think what Jamie Dimon did a disservice around when he did that interview with you, which I think was a great interview, is that he's representing that this reduces compliance concerns, or it actually makes it easier to do bad things. And that's just not true. It's either intentionally misrepresentation or even negligent to try to make support for the Clarity Act go away.
Okay. Well, Brad, I mean, this is a victory for Ripple, and it's a victory for the crypto industry. How do you turn or convert regulatory victories here where you are looking at a framework and you are looking at the regulation open up for the crypto industry? How do you turn that into financial adoption when you look at Main Street, when you look at potential customers?
Well, let's look at it start with the consumer. 90% of crypto trading right now is offshore, not in the United States. That isn't protecting U.S. consumers. We actually want that to be and have protections by adopting frameworks so that more of that happens domestically. That is a step, a positive step. Now, as you know, Ripple is really focused on the enterprise. We serve banks, we serve payment providers, we serve prime brokerage customers, corporates. So we're not focused on consumers. And what we find is when something like the Clarity Act gets passed, that certainty allows CFOs and treasurers and bank executives to lean in, where right now they might be a little bit nervous that a future regulator, a future Gary Gensler, who really was attacking this industry, could rekindle some of those attacks. And so the Clarity Act really puts that to bed. As Tim Scott said on this show earlier today, it allows the United States to lead in an industry where we have been lagging because we haven't had this clarity. The industry wants clarity and wants regulation. And when you have Jamie Dimon representing that somehow we're trying to circumvent regulation, like nothing could be further from the truth.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ripple is launching a new AI starter kit for the XRP ledger, curated set of tools to allow developers to build agent-powered applications and make payments on the company's ledger. Brad, this is a big deal. Congrats on this launch. Tell us more about this.
Well, look, we all, I think, are trying to figure out what AI is going to and how it's going to change our economy, how it's going to change workers, but it's also going to change infrastructure. And you are already seeing really experimentation and science experiments, but you're seeing examples where AI agents actually are enabling payments. And so we want to make sure that we are future ready and future proof is how we think about XRP and the XRP ledger. There's an announcement yesterday where MasterCard is partnering with about 30 different companies in the industry to help construct some of that. We were a part of that, and we certainly think there's going to be more opportunity around that. That's not to say there's not going to be risks. I think sometimes the excitement around these things get ahead of reality. I'm not going to go connect a AI agent to, my brokerage account or my primary checking account. I'm happy to go experiment and, to do things, and let's see where this all goes. But I think there's going to have to be a lot of protections and structure around that before people really connect their bank account to an AI agent.
Well, you're right, and that is why I think there is a very significant amount of seriousness on this issue in government. People recognize that there are risks to agentic AI. We've seen, evidence that they can act or behave unpredictably. So what kind of legislation do you want to see in place in terms of putting the guidelines? And when we look at Congress passing comprehensive digital assets legislation, what does that unlock for Ripple right now that cannot happen currently?
Well, I think as we have seen, we're kind of late to the game with legislation around digital assets. I think we should get ahead of that around AI. Ripple isn't obviously going to lead that effort in the way we have around digital assets. But again, unlocking that clarity, I mean, Ripple has grown dramatically over the course of the last year. Without that, a lot of that growth is non-U.S. We expect to end this year with $1 billion revenue run rate, not including the XRP on our balance sheet. So we're seeing dramatic growth because we're able to serve a broader set of customers. There's significant demand. And even as I said earlier, Jamie Dimon used to only say bad things about this industry, and even he is acknowledging things like stablecoins are really going to be an integral part of our future payment system.
Oh, you're absolutely right. So when you look at the growth story at Ripple, we want to take a look at XRP this morning. But where is the next major growth market right now for Ripple? Is it in payments? Is it in tokenized assets? Is it stablecoins or banking infrastructure?
Well, we have seen dramatic growth in our what we call Ripple Treasury. Ripple Treasury is infrastructure. Think about it as a CFO's dashboard. So if you're running a Fortune 50 all the way down to a Fortune 2000 company and you've got bank accounts and currencies around the world, having a single snapshot so you can see what currencies you're holding, where your liquidity is, that has been a big growth area for us. And what we know is those CFOs, more than ever before, are asking, hey, how could stablecoins fit into that mix? And the opportunity to then bring RLUSD, Ripple stablecoin, to the fore and solve those payments problems and just making it seamless. I'm super excited about the acquisitions we made last year and how these different pieces fit together and unlock for customers like CFOs, for customers around payments. And our stablecoin growth, we launched that about 18 months ago, and it's already a top 5 stablecoin. We're continuing to see growth there, and we're certainly excited about what's ahead in 2026.
Well, those acquisitions certainly made a lot of investors believe that Ripple has become part of the global financial system. And do you want to do more acquisitions to continue scaling up? Do you need that to scale up?
Right now, Maria, it's kind of, focus on what we have, stick to our knitting a little bit. When you go out and buy 2 kind of very large organizations, you're integrating those, you kind of want to take a moment and digest. There is, however, a lot of dynamic activity in our industry. You saw Bullish, a public company, announce a deal for Equinity, which I think is a very smart deal for them. Yeah. So I think you're going to continue to see opportunities, and we will remain proactive. We have a very strong balance sheet, both in dollars and and in XRP.
Brad, it's great to have you. We're watching the growth story, certainly, and we will talk soon. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Maria.
Brad Garlinghouse joining us from Ripple. We'll be right back.